the Prince of Darkness becomes dependent on the light that he has consumed. Hello, today in my Gnostic Sects playlist, I'm going to discuss the Manichaeans. They also go by different names. I'll list them. So the sect was founded by the prophet Mani in the 3rd century CE, originating in Persia. They were dualists. The sect blends Christianity, Zoroastrianism, and Buddhism, and they had quite a reach. The Roman Empire, North Africa, Persia, Central Asia, and even all the way to China. They were the most widespread Gnostic sect in history by far. Most of the sects that I've talked about have been small, localized, or short-lived. Manichaeism, however, spread over 3 continents over 1,000 years. It's kind of amazing. But in order to discuss them, we need to talk about the prophet Mani first. He was Iranian. He died shortly after being imprisoned by Bahram I in Gunde Shapur. So they're not really sure if Mani was his name or a title. They think probably a title, but here are some of the different interpretations for his name. He was born near Selusha Ctesiphon, perhaps in the town of Mardinu in the Babylonian district of Nar Kutha. Hope I'm saying all that correctly. Some accounts say it was the town Abrumya. Anyway, at the age of 12 and again at 24, Mani had visionary experiences. He had these visions of a heavenly twin, of his zizygos. This made him leave his father's sect, the LC Saints, which were Jewish Christians. He then traveled to India. There he studied Hinduism and its various philosophies, as well as Buddhism. It is said that he performed miracles like levitation, teleporting, and healing. In 242, he returned and presented himself to Shapur I. Shapur's successor was Hormizd I. He reigned for 1 year, continuing to be a patron of Mani, but his successor, Bahram I, started persecuting Manichaeans. He incarcerated Mani, who died in prison within a month. Mani's followers said that it was a crucifixion, but there are other stories that say he was flayed alive, and there are other stories that say that he was decapitated post-mortem and that they put his head on display. So he died. And they killed him. The canon of Mani includes 7 works. Here is the full list. None of the books are complete, but he thought that salvation was only possible through education, self-denial, fasting, and chastity. He declared himself to be an apostle of Jesus Christ, which is a bold statement. They thought that he was the reincarnation of different religious figures, including Jesus, Zoroaster, and the Buddha. Many believed that the teachings of these 3 were incomplete. He also claimed to be the paraclete of the truth promised by Jesus in the book of John in the New Testament. Paraclete means advocate, helper, or comforter. The Manichaean Spread. The cult was quickly successful. It spread through Aramaic-speaking regions, the Mediterranean and the Middle East. It thrived between the 3rd and the 7th centuries. At its height, it was one of the most widespread religions in the world. Before the spread of Islam, Manichaeism was briefly the main rival to early Christianity, but it was increasingly persecuted by the Roman state and the new Christian church. They disappeared from Roman lands at the end of the 6th century. They may have influenced later movements in the European Middle Ages, including Paulicianism, Bogomilism, and Catharism. But I think they're quite a strange group, so let's dig in further. Their beliefs. Like many other Gnostic sects, they had radical dualism going on, a battle between the light and the dark. But the difference is they thought of good and evil as separate opposing realities that are kind of crossing over each other. The material world is a mixture of light and darkness created through cosmic conflict. Human souls contain divine light trapped in physical bodies. Salvation comes from freeing the light from matter. But knowledge, gnosis, is necessary for this salvation, like many other Gnostic sects believe. The universe is governed by a complex cosmology of divine beings and aeons. Jesus, Buddha, and Zoroaster are seen as earlier messengers of the same truth, but Mani is considered the final prophet, completing these previous revelations. They performed strict ethical discipline to reduce harm to what they called living light, especially for the elect. They performed celibacy, fasting, and vegetarianism, like many other Gnostic sects. They had their elects and their auditors. Only the elect were required to follow the laws strictly, while the others cared for them, hoping to become an elect in their turn after reincarnation. Cosmology and dualism. So this is where it gets weird. You'll have to bear with me. I'm gonna try my best with this, but it's fairly complicated, especially for a short video like this. In Manichaean cosmology, the unfolding of the universe took place in 3 phases: the first, second, and third creations. The first creation. In the first, there are 2 worlds, the world of darkness and the world of light. The world of light is ruled by the Father of Greatness, together with his 5 Shekinahs, which are like divine attributes of light. I will put them on the screen here. However, these have different names in different languages. I'm not going to go through all of them, but they exist. The Father also had 4 faces: divinity, light, power, and wisdom. The world of darkness is ruled by the King of Darkness. The dark invades the light in a lustful desire to mingle with it. 5 evil archons rule the darkness: demon, dragon, eagle, fish, and lion, who together make up the Prince of Darkness. The Father of Greatness responds to their assault by emanating divine beings. These beings sacrifice themselves and are absorbed by the Prince of Darkness. But the Prince of Darkness becomes dependent on the light that he has consumed. To prevent the light from returning to its divine source, the forces of darkness act. They give birth through copulation to 2 demonic beings, Sakla and Nebroel. Because darkness is the opposite of pure light, it cannot create from nothing. Something can only be made by using existing substance, energy, or matter, by mixing, reshaping, or reproducing, not by pure divine will. Here is a quick reference into the emanations of the first creation. I'm not going to read through all of these, but if you want to pause the video, be my guest. But I do want to focus a bit on the first man, the original man. He was armed with 5 shields of light. The shields were reflections of the 5 Shekinahs. During the battle, he allowed the forces of darkness to take the shields. The loss of the shields acted as bait, drawing darkness to consume the light. By consuming the light, the forces of darkness became trapped by it. This is one difference from the other Gnostic sects, because I think in many of the others, the light is trapped in the darkness. In this case, the light almost sacrifices itself so the darkness can be trapped. When the original man awakened, he found himself imprisoned among the forces of darkness, the second creation. So after this, the Father of Greatness initiates a second creation. He calls forth the living spirit. The living spirit calls his 5 sons to the original man. This call becomes a Manichaean deity. The answer becomes another Manichaean deity and returns from the original man to the world of light. The mother of life, the living spirit, and his 5 sons began forming the universe. Creation is made from the bodies of evil beings and the light they had swallowed. 10 heavens and 8 earths are created. All levels of the cosmos are mixtures between dark matter and stolen light at different rates. The sun, moon, and stars are formed from recovered light. The moon's phases represent light being gathered. This light passes to the sun, then it travels through the Milky Way, and the light ultimately returns to the world of light. Here are the emanations for this creation. Again, you can pause the video if you want to read it. As you can see, this is way more complicated than other Gnostic sects, but there's still one more level to go. The third creation. So the Father of Greatness creates the last creation. Great demons called archons are suspended over the heavens. Light is recovered by tempting the archons with visions of divine beauty. beings of light, such as the third messenger and the virgins of light, are used as bait. The archons expel light from their bodies when aroused by these visions. The expelled light falls to earth. The archons continue to consume the light in order to keep it trapped. It's kind of a vicious cycle. After swallowing vast amounts of it, the archons copulate. Their union produces Adam and Eve. The Father of Greatness sends Jesus, the splendor, to awaken man. Adam is taught the true origin of the light trapped in his body. Adam and Eve produce more humans, further imprisoning light and matter. Human history becomes the continued trapping of light within human bodies, over and over and over again. The appearance of the prophet Mani is a final attempt by the world of light to reveal the truth of the imprisoned light. And here is a list of the final emanations if you want to read that. So that's complicated enough, but then there's also the world of darkness and its emanations, which is not as complicated, but it's still another aspect of this. The last god. The fundamentals are the same, and you can see certain similarities with the other sects. I would say this leans more Eastern, but still retains the major plot points. But let's get into their persecution and suppression. There were Roman imperial edicts banning Manichaean practice, executions, imprisonments, exiles, all under Roman law. They were condemned by the early Christian church as heretical, like many of the others. There were book burnings of Manichaean scriptures in Roman territories, forced conversions. There was suppression under Persian authorities after initial tolerance. There was a decline and persecution following the spread of Islam, including legal restrictions. There was suppression in the Tang dynasty in China, including bans and destructions of temples, continual eradication through medieval Christian movements, and on and on and on. One thing I find interesting about doing all these Gnostic sects videos is that at one time, the dualist view was the major religious viewpoint in the world. That's what it seems like. But we have fallen so far from this. The last 1,000 years have been quite dire. And judging by the state of the world, it's just getting worse and worse. If you think of these two realities as merging, it definitely feels like the dark has sort of taken over, and it is winning because a lot of people don't believe it exists. There's been this decline in religiosity. In the 1970s, atheism was only about 6% in the USA. It is nearly 25% today, and it's even higher among younger generations. And I feel like it's something that is being pushed often, really all the time. But I'll leave you with this. How can you fight a battle if you don't even know it exists? Anyway, I think that they are definitely Gnostic, slightly different, but definitely have some of the major components. If you have anything to say about them, you can post that below. But that's all I got for today. Take care. Have a good day.